Up through them trees is my tree stand. The new one for this year. I'll have to, it's at least, I would say, 100-yard shot from here back to there. And at a little bit after 8 o'clock this morning, this big-bodied buck. I can't wait to get him on the scales and see what he weighs. Well, good morning. My name is Tom. I come to you from the Rustic log cabin in Northern Maine. Welcome to my outpost. This right here is Beaver Creek Deer Camp. If you haven't been following my videos for the last 2 years, I started building this place up 2 years ago. I hunted it last fall for the first time, and I hunted it today. Today, if you haven't watched the deer season for 2022, today will be the last episode of deer season 2022. Other than showing you some game cameras and stuff like that, I'll be doing some serious scouting now for the next couple of weeks, right into muzzle loading season, just to see what the deer are doing late fall and all of that. But this morning was the first time in the entire month so far. We're on day number 15. It has been hot. We started out opening week with 60 to 80 degree weather. I sat in the tree stand a week ago in a t-shirt and this orange vest because the temperature was so hot. And it was a wind, 20 miles an hour, 30 mile an hour wind the whole time. So just crappy weather for deer hunting. I know some people got some deer. I didn't. I hate that kind of weather. But this morning was the first time I can say this season that the weather conditions were what I wanted. The wind direction is what I wanted. There was no wind. It was cold last night, down in the low 30s. Everything froze up. I got out here this morning just before dawn, and I sat in the tree stand until it was a little after 8 o'clock. I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to check some time. I did send out a short once I found the deer. The buck, what he was doing, I got a little bit of a wind direction this way, about 2 miles an hour. And about 50 yards away, I put 6. It might have been 9. I think it was 9. Sorry. I put out 9 bottles of Tinks 69 on one stump. I have a coffee hook there, and I just hooked all 9 of them on that stump. And what the deer was trying to do, and then I've got this doe bleat, and every once in a while, about every 15 minutes or so, I'll let 3 bleats out of this doe bleat. So what the buck did, he came out in the swale grass. Now, I know they like to figure out downwind, but I didn't realize he wanted to figure out downwind so much out in the swale grass. I mean, he was out in the swale grass probably 30 yards. And I don't know if you know what swale grass is, but it's as tall as a deer. It is down a little bit right now because we're getting into fall and the stuff is all died. But he came out, if you've seen my pictures here, and I'll take a video. He came out, I cut a trail. I cut a shooting lane here, straight down. I cut a shooting straight right there for straight, and I cut one over there. Now what he did was he came out on this first shooting lane, which no way you're going to get it. I mean, I saw him, and that's what I wanted to see, and I saw his rack and all of that. So then I had to go to the second shooting lane, but he didn't quite make it to the third one. You know, he stopped. Well, I could still get a shot through the trees, but he stopped. And I think he stopped because he might have got a whiff of that. He might have got a whiff of that Tink 69. Because what he was doing, he was making a big circle downwind to get to the back side of that Tink 69. So I've already got him dragged up here. I was able to drive to within 30 yards of him. I could have dug out the chainsaw and cut a few things.
Done deal. He's going home.
But what a great morning. I mean, it was just of course it's a great morning. It ended up with a buck. But a lot of hard work went into this place. A lot of hard work went into getting this hunt shack installed. And it's just great to finish off the season with a deer. Basically because I didn't finish off bear season with a bear. So that doesn't help me much. So I was able to top off the freezer now with a good-sized deer. I'm going to go put him on the meat pole and put him on the scales. But pretty excited with his size. He's a big bodied deer. And the deer in this area would be lots of food, lots of feed. More so than up on the rustic log cabin. I found the deer run a little bit smaller up there, and I think mainly because of food, that's all. But nice rack, point, nothing spectacular as far as, big points and all that. I've got other 8-pointers and 9-pointers with a lot bigger pints and tines and everything else on him. But that's all right. We're in the 15th, it's a buck, and you got to break the ice at a new cabin and got to break the ice with that new meat pole. So he's a good icebreaker. Great view from the tree stand this morning. He's a good icebreaker. And the fun thing about that is this hunt shack has only been here less than a month. Bear season came in. I had this thing built. I needed to get it hauled in. I needed to cut the trail to get in here. Just a whole bunch of work to get this thing in here. So I've had guys say, well, and I say the same thing. I think a hunt shack is better once it's been setting for a year. But don't ever rule it out. I guess that's my point. And then I wasn't ruling it out. Mainly because I got a game camera out here, and that thing was picking up deer just as soon as the shack was here. So it wasn't really, I was thinking, well, the game camera's not lying. There's deer going by it when I'm not here. And basically from the week we put it in, that following weekend I came out and pushed a doe off the tree stand, off in the woods there a little bit. So, but this is going to be it's going to sit here now for a year, but to take a buck off it the first year, I'm pretty pleased with that and pretty happy with that. I scouted this spot out. I know it's a good spot. That's why I put the time and energy into a hunt shack like this, because this is not going to be a fluke for this stand. This is a giant funnel area that is right on the swale grass. So them deer are going to, and it's way deep. And that's the other reason for building this cabin. I'm a mile back in the woods. But the deer will follow that stream bed, and that's exactly what he did. He come down the stream bed and then was trying to circle that Tink 69 to get a good whiff of that doe there. And she must have been a stinky one. 9 bottles of that Wicks there on one coffee hook. So, but what a morning, what a morning, what a morning. I am happy as a clam to take a deer out of this stand on the first year. And I'll have to start rethinking a whole bunch of other things about tree stands in the first year, I guess. But that's all right. We got a deer to top off the freezer. And fishing season is coming next, so we're going to have quite a menu this winter. So, but like they always say, the work has just begun. The good thing about this is I had put in my legwork ahead of time by putting in a trail right down to the swale grass. Basically because I needed a turnaround. The trail is my shooting lane. So I was able to drive right to the swale grass and then up the swale grass a little bit until I come to a couple of trees that were down. So after I just pulled up to the trees, I didn't bother cutting them out. I could have drove right up to the deer if I'd taken out the chainsaw for 5 minutes. But when they're buried in swale grass, it's kind of a mess. But I will be cleaning that path out because knowing now that they will circle down in that swale grass, I'm going to want a clean road out there so that I can go out and maybe take another one out of there. It's finally nice to see something hanging from the meat pole. Any of you who's been watching this channel for the last 6 months, we've been putting in the hunt shacks and getting that meat pole built. And it really is nice to see a buck hanging from the meat pole. So anyways, you guys have one last sip of coffee with me, and I'll see you next week.